Hi guys, this week, thank you for everyone who's been doing this. We'll start with that. Thank you. You've been commenting, you've been subscribing, you've been liking. Some people have been sharing this as well, which is amazing, and thank you so much. If you'd like to do it again, I wouldn't say no, but thank you. Today's episode, if you look at the thumbnail, there's a guy holding a cat. That's supposed to be Hamlet, holding a cat like he holds the skull in the famous To Be or Not to Be. So today's episode is To Beat or Not to Beat. I'm not talking about outlines, not talking about you writing down your beats for your story to get it all straight in your head. I'm an outlining fanatic. I actually love it. I never used to. I used to be one of those guys that went, oh no, I know the story is super good. I'm just going to start writing and let it come to me as I go. Well, I'm still doing that when I outline. But I sit there and go, oh, he did this. Why did he do that? Oh, then he did this, and then he did this. Oh, okay, I need a character for him to talk to. I'll introduce a new character. And I sit there and all these bullet points, dot points, whatever you say in your country, I say dots, other people say bullet points. You know, bang, 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 bang. And when I get about 50 of them, I start rearranging them and moving them around. I might retype them a few times. Once I've typed them in, I normally type them into notes. Is that notes? Or pages, or one of those ones on my iPad over there. And then I'll cut and paste them, Google Doc. Then I cut and paste them into Writer Duet. Writer Duet will just drag them all straight down as either notes or try to make them into scene headings. And then I start filling them out and deleting them as I go. And that's my process. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about an outline. I'm talking about, and the reason the guy's holding up a cat is, you know, the old save the cat beat sheet. Do you use one of those formulas? I particularly don't like them because I find that they constrain me where they're saying, okay, now you've got to do this and now you should do that. You should have a mentor and then the mentor should die. Well, if you don't have a mentor, how are you going to kill one? So, you know, not every film needs to have Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I don't use them. But I asked over on there, at the forum I hang out with, these people over there, I asked them to beat or not to beat. And it was a good little conversation. One of the things that someone pointed out, I told them I'm not going to name any of them. If you want to go over there and find it, join the community and talk, and it's a great little community. And they have a monthly competition, which is good, and it's all free. One of the guys pointed out that the reason he uses one of those templates, even though he can throw things out, he's not always going to stick to them, is that it tells him when there's things he's missing, things he hasn't considered, holes in the story, when he's getting stuck in the first act too long, and he's like, oh, I'm still here around the establishing the ordinary world. I've gone past the opening shot, but I'm still stuck in ordinary world. I can't. I've got the first act fascination happening. I've got to get out of this, or I'm labouring too long on the what do they call it? Inciting incident. Yeah, his daughter should just be taken to the hotel. We shouldn't have this whole thing of the inciting incident where, you know, we see the daughter being stalked, all this, and then she's taken, and then she escapes, then she's taken again, and he can't get to Europe to rescue her. We can make the inciting incident too big. So these things work for him in that way. Other people have said they really like them because it keeps them moving through the second act. That there is the old rocky shoals, as I once heard it described on script notes. You get to around page 70 and you're running into problems. And so you need this thing to sort of go, oh, okay, let's pull me together. Let's give me a map. And other people describe it like that. You need a map. You don't start on holidays and don't turn on your GPS, you just drive. Well, yeah, that's how Europeans... There was already people living in these countries. So when I say discovered, you know what I mean. That's how European colonists went and said, well, let's just get in a boat and go that way. Oh, look, found this great island in the Pacific. Nice people, yeah. And the French colonised Tahiti. Paul Gauguin went down there, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, England cruised around a little bit, poof, bumped into what they were once calling Van Diemen's Land, which is now called Australia. And the French came down here and the Dutch came down here, and there's talk that the Chinese were here for a while as well. But we discovered it, there's already people here, but we discovered it that our way by sailing around everywhere that it wasn't. You know, Columbus went across and bumped into the islands off America and all those sorts of things. This is how you discover things, by going somewhere you haven't been before and writing it down. My personal belief, if you stick to a path, if you stick to a map, you're a bit of a tourist. You're not discovering anything new. You might discover little interesting things about yourself on the way. You might discover little side roads, something you haven't stopped at before. You might find an interesting shop you haven't visited. You might find a tree you haven't spotted, or a lookout over a valley, which is all fantastic and great. But other people have been there. They've seen that shop. They've looked over that valley. I find it a little bit hard to be brand new. But not having these formulas, a lot of people pointed out that you can get a little lost. You can start writing something, and I could be a little bit guilty of this. You start writing something and then you try to fix it rather than go back and fix it in the first act. I'm not so guilty of that these days. I'll just rip pages off and throw them away and introduce characters. I also have the ability to, this happened in Mycroft and Sherlock. If you want to do it, you can go to Script Revolution and download it and read it. Where I introduced Rose, the character, and then she became a really good character. I really liked her. So she grew in the story, became more important. She became one of the little team. It's supposed to be just Sherlock and James, and his brother was this annoying thing, Mycroft, that was a bit of a protagonist, but not really. It was like a complication. Then Rose came along. Now suddenly there was this great little relationship triangle happening as well. Who was really Sherlock's best friend? Was it more James? Was it more Rose? It was just this great little thing that I discovered along the way. If I hadn't beat sheeted that out, I wouldn't have had that. But I can also see these beat sheets as a great way of learning screenwriting structure. You get one, you go, oh, okay, I see. We have to leave the first act. We have to go into the second act. The second act, crap has to happen, and it's going to be paid off from the first act. I don't know if these things actually talk about payoffs and stuff. Doesn't matter. Third act, we've got to wind these things up. There is always like the very first Creatures film in the Harry Potter universe. I was watching it because our family's watched every Harry Potter thing there is. And suddenly I've gone, oh, this must be near the end. I guarantee something bad's going to happen. And sure enough, Colin Farrell appears again and attacks them. For me, it was so predictable it was going to happen. They'll defeat Colin. There's no one's here, he's under threat. Blah, 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 blah. He's dead. Oh, look, fantastic. Rain, great, done. You don't want to have your format showing. If you're going to use one of these things, find a way of disguising it. Like a movie set in the 50s. They didn't build Old West towns. They built the front of Old West towns, and there was trucks behind it. So find a way of hiding it. Find a way of diffusing it. Leave things out. Move them around. Change them about. I don't use them. I'm giving you really bad advice because I don't know how to use these things. I write freeform. But to beat or not to beat, I'm interested to hear what you say. What's your favourite one? Are you a Save the Cat guy? A hero's journey? Is there some variation on that? Is there something that I'm unaware of that I really should be doing? The thing that really turned me against it, and I said this in this conversation too, was I was listening to a podcast about Save the Cat. When I first started thinking I was going to write, I thought, oh, everyone's talking about Save the Cat. I don't read much. I'll listen to a podcast. And the people in the podcast were arguing about something that should happen on page 75. And one guy was saying, it's happening on page 75. It's when this happens. And another person goes, that doesn't qualify. It's happening on page 74 when this happens. And that they were arguing over that, not about the story, about fulfilling the requirements of a template. You should always fulfill the requirements of your story, and to hell with the templates. Tell the best story you can, but these might be a good way for you to learn how the ocean moves. Like you might want to sail around the river before you buy a boat and decide to cross the Atlantic. This might be a way for you to do that. I myself just read a bucket load of screenplays and just listened to podcasts and spoke to people and read and spoke and just started writing and fell over a lot. But now I'm up and running. T-shirts, link below, books, and 20% off Write a Duet for you guys. I make nothing out of that. That's all for you. Until next time, guys, keep writing.